Hello, everybody. Welcome to race number 10, the final race for the MX5 Cup Series here with Ames. And we are at Road Atlanta today in these wonderful little rear-wheel drive, fun, convertible, whatever adjectives can we use to describe the MX5, Ryan?
Just a fantastic car. That's all you need to know about it. It's a Miata.
Miata is always the answer, right?
That's right. Miata should just be the adjective or like the synonym for fantastic. That's all you need.
I'm going to put that on my resume next time and see if someone catches it.
Yeah.
So, we are here at Road Atlanta. It feels like it's been coming a long time, and it's the final race of our first season. And, man, what a journey it's been, I feel like.
Yeah, it's been, it feels like it's been a long season. It has been a long season for everyone involved, obviously. Looking forward to a nice break after our last race of the season next week for our Group 3 cars. But this MX5 series has just really grown into its own thing. And I'm excited, not for the MX5's next season, and we're not going to have them just yet, but similar racecraft and styles,
Yeah, everyone be sure to keep an eye out for our mid-season kind of, I think we'll be streaming here and there and maybe giving some of the drivers a chance to commentate while Ryan and I have an opportunity to mess up on track as much as we mess up on stream. But
that's right. Yep.
And of course we'll be coming out with our future stream or I guess season details. But we do we're in practice right now. We've got a few minutes left in practice, and I just want to take out, I unfortunately don't have it on the screen, but our points for the top three of this MX5 Cup Series. In third place before today's race, we have Moose with 286 points, who we're actually on board with now. And
no, you're looking at the
MX5 Cup Series.
On top. Tony Cale's on top.
I said he was in third place.
Oh, third place. I'm sorry.
If Ryan would listen, that'd be fantastic.
No, I can't listen.
I was starting with third place, being Moose Man with 286 points. He's pretty much solidified in third place right now, because in second place we have Arctic, who will jump on with in second place with 350 points. And it's a close battle for first place in the championship. Tony Cal currently in the pits. I won't jump on board with him, but with 352 points. So 2 points separating the top two contenders for the first place in the championship today, and that will be decided at the end of our second race, which of course, if you've been here before, is a reverse grid race, which tends to have some fun shenanigans, fun depending on how you make out after turn one and turn two. But currently looks like for practice so far, at least, we're seeing some quick laps, some 130s from Arctic. That's pretty quick.
Yeah, someone who just about a half hour ago said that he was in the 130s for his optimal, but couldn't get quick clean lap times in, is certainly making the most of this morning's practice session. Like you said, we've got two 30-minute races around this 2.54 mile track. It's made up of 12 corners, and as Arctic is mowing the grass around one of them, resetting to the pits, you are allowed to do that in practice. It's just a fantastic track, and even in these MX-5s, man, it just feels like a blast to drive, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, especially because, the first sector especially is just an absolute blast, and it feels like you're just full sending it on as much momentum as possible. You're going through the S's, and it's just very scary as well, because you really need to be able to rotate the car and have these quick adjustments as you're going through everything. So we'll be interested to see how these guys are able to manage that in these cars. And I also hear that we have a few end of the season liveries to check out. I don't know if this is the new one from Steezy or not, but I think he had it last week, but it is really clean, the K&N livery, so it's good looking.
You can't go wrong with those colors.
I think Demon, on the other hand, had a new one to bring out for this week, and man, that looks fabulous.
Yeah, that's looking sharp. Fantastic. I'm a big fan of that. He's got a really good eye or design skills for by the fenders. He's always got those diagonal designs going on. It just looks great. I tried emulating it, and I just couldn't make it happen. So
it's tough. It's not the easiest thing. It definitely requires.
I know
a bit of
Marino
time.
DM'd me for his livery. Pato DM'd us. Tony Cal's jumping in chat saying to check out his livery. Yeah, Demon, kudos to you. That's a properly good-looking thing.
Tony Cal, yeah, Tony, this is like a classic looking.
Classic. Yeah, it is. That's beautiful, though.
Yeah, I really enjoy this with the white
Clean
wheels
as
too.
hell.
Yep. Ties everything together.
Yeah, that's looking sharp as hell. And we know Tony Cal's a fan of blue, it seems, lately. And yeah, that is just looking clean. The white wheels bringing it
slides that beyond around that corner, the bend there.
Gotta have some fun.
Gotta have some fun. I mean, these cars are fun, right? That's why everybody loves them. That's why everybody, you drive it. It's they're just fun cars. So, be sure to be keeping an eye on these first two, like we said, Tony Cal and Arctic going into the race. We know that. I mean, both these guys are going to be fighting for first place really hard, and but respectively, both drivers just have been absolutely great competitors, I think, and it's been good to see a lot of like racecraft grow, not just between those two, but also the entire grid. If we move on down, Steezy.
We've only got one other person out right now. I would assume practice is going to be wrapping up here shortly.
Right, practice will be wrapping up shortly for sure. But I was just looking at the points.
Oh yes.
And Steezy is currently in 5th place with 136 points. Purple is in 6th with 131. Actually, we don't see Purple in. Oh, there he is.
There he is. He's in the pits. Yep.
There he is. Okay, cool. Purple is here. Yep, perfect. Purple is behind with 131, so 5 points separating those two. Labu in 7th place with 121 points. Who right behind him is Demon with 118. And I don't see Labu in.
Labu was not going to be able to attend today's race, unfortunately. Absolutely, unless there's DNFs down below him, he'll be giving up his place.
Hey man, that lets Demon slot into 11th place easily then.
Exactly right.
So yeah, we've got a few close fights for the championship battles today, but as far as the podium goes, Moose definitely has 3rd place wrapped up. No question about that. The big question today is who's going to be walking home with that 1st place trophy.
Again, Tony Cal, just like he had a clean sweep of our the last race we were at, right? He's going to be looking for the same today in these MX5s, and we can't. You just can't assume that anyone's going to get it, right? Moose, Tony Cal, and Arctic have. Well, while Moose has dropped down in the points, he's shown his moments through the season, so you can't discount him for taking a surprise P1.
No, absolutely not. So we will be ending practice here in just a moment. While everyone sit back, relax, and enjoy a few moments of practice until quality gets started. All right, and here we go. Qualifying getting underway here in just a moment here at Road Atlanta.
Vinric has arrived in chat just in time for qualifying to get underway. Vinric, how are you today?
Yeah, Vinric's got the MVP Chatter Award for sure this season.
Oh, that's for sure.
Vinric's been here almost every race, I feel like, and it's always a pleasure. Always someone I look forward to seeing in chat.
Oh, same here.
So, we saw... go on.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll go. I was just gonna say we saw 130s from I think both Moose and Arctic.
That's right. Yep.
In practice, obviously, they're spending some time practicing their quality runs. I don't know what Tony Cal's gonna put up. I'm sure he'll be right up there with them. I don't know how much practice he's gotten in this week. Gilly is someone who's also been up there. Gilly, notably, He's had to miss a few races, so he's down in 9th place for the championship series at 110 points. So he's a bit behind Demon, about 8 points off. Gilly's had some bad luck, I feel like, in this series. Just, especially
Gilly's had bad luck in both series, man.
Yeah.
Just unfortunately getting wrapped up in some moments or people just, especially in the start of the season, right earlier on, as our season went on, everyone's racecraft seemed to improve. But yeah, the poor guy got stuck in some bad moments. So I'm excited to see what Gilly's going to pull out next season. Of course, again, we've said it a couple weeks, but having a child definitely is going to throw you off, and it's going to give you less time to get that practice in. And we see, especially, I mean, I'm sure that just coming from myself, if I take a week off the game and try coming back, I'm no good. So for these guys, if you take a week off and then jump into a league series race, you're not going to have a great time.
Absolutely not. I'm with you on that. And we are underway here. Just notably, Tony Cal, Mooseman, Arctic behind on their first outlaps of qualifying. Rick with his Zug emote, I love it. So we'll be seeing what these guys are going to be able to do here on their first pusher of a lap here. Tony Cal looking like he's having a good time so far. We jump back with Moose real quick, also looking like he's doing all right here. Notably, it's funny, we say it every week, I feel like, and I know Arctic has been someone who speaking of Arctic, looks like he has a track homes penalty, so he's got to wash this lap off and make the most of the next one he's got going on. But I will say, this is a car that you have to really be on the limit with to get these sort of times that these guys are putting up. And it seems like it really means like you have to slide the car around almost a little bit, like which kind of goes against the idea of, being on the limit and being in control. But I guess if you're not out of control, you're not in control. You see Tony Cal across the line with a 130.2, Mooseman with a 130.5, Arctic behind with a 131.7 because of that penalty, Artgilio with a 131.6, Demon a 132.3, I think that was. Demon's definitely going to be looking to make an improvement there, but we do see the times coming up on the board. Steezy with a 131.6, good job by Steezy there. Marino with a slow 133.6. I think he's got more pace in him there. He's definitely going to be...
Actually, speaking of Marino, can we jump down? I got to see his livery. He was DMing me about...
Oh, of course.
Oh, a full-on Mario themed. Man was enjoying the new Super Mario game, so that is quite fitting there.
Super Mario Wonder, I think, right?
Yeah, Super Mario Wonder, which looks wonderful.
It's me, Mario. Oh, and he's got the race suit, too.
Yeah, that's freaking amazing.
Excellent.
It's me, Mario. He's got the batter.
Oh, this is wonderful. I am loving this.
Oh my god, that's amazing. And Pato said that they made a couple of small tweaks or so.
Let's check it out.
We see that he put it at 134. He did mention he was about 3 seconds off the people up front, so we know he's got some more pace in his pocket, but I think he's got a special message there on his rear bumper.
Yeah.
Replacing his laps led currently. Thank you, Ames. Thank you, Pato.
You don't see that. It was a little wholesome from our resident Zugger, man.
That's right. Pato Zug on his windshield banner as well.
Man, I really...
the livery. It looks good.
It looks good. I really hope Zug doesn't mean something like bad somewhere. And we're just every week.
All our years of saying it, I feel like we would have learned something sooner.
Arctic bumping up to a 130.6 improvement for him. Another 131.6 from Gilly, a 131.7 from Demon, so that's an improvement for him as well. Moving up to 6th place. Pato, we'll keep on board Pato for the rest of this lap and see how he's able to do. Vinrick saying Zug is just orc for yes.
Yeah, but me not that kind of orc. So
me not that kind of orc. Double Moreno putting up another 132. Pato within just over a second of that. I know Pato's got more pace in him than a 134. It's a little bit slippery on the first turn of that chicane. Really slows you down, having to with that weight transfer to the back, and just swung it around, looking like a boat almost, like a good old Lincoln Continental. Puts up a 134.2, is not an improvement. I think it would have been an improvement if he didn't mess up that chicane, but he does have about 4.5 minutes left, so he's got another few laps in him that he can put some time down in and try and catch Marino there. Notably, Tony Cal still holding pole position, provisional pole.
His first hot lap, and how many times have we seen this now? First hot lap of the of qualifying takes it, and Tony Cal was in front. He didn't even have a toe.
No, he's
so
just
maybe the dirty air playing tricks, playing dirty.
I don't think it has much. I don't think the dirty air is big of a thing with these things than the slipstream.
I agree, but I'm just saying, Moose and Arctic behind did have the slipstream, and yet they're not able to put anything out. Moose putting at a personal best. Arctic putting at a personal best, rather.
Yeah, Arctic demoting Mooseman and moving up to second. Arctic now much closer to Tony Cal. We know he's got the pace. This is going to be an all-out brawl for first. Man, these two drivers are going to be going at it. Marino now improving with a 131.6. Splits the Steezy Demon Love duo that they are. And takes Demon's place in...
Oh, the three of them. No, they're definitely a love triangle there.
That they are. And we are on board with Purple. No T-Swift this evening? Am I missing T-Swift?
That is Urkel at its finest.
That's a good one. That's a solid one. Solid delivery there.
Pato with the 133.3. That's a good improvement from him. Much closer to Purple there.
Solid improvement. Let's see if Purple's able to respond to Demon here or not. Well, actually, I guess he's going around for another lap now, so not able to do so just yet. Our resident Zugger, man, he's got 133. I think he probably squeezed out a little bit more time. It sounds like the guys were on last night doing a practice session and throwing him some tips and everything like that. So happy to see that. He was saying how much he loved Sector 1 of this track quite a bit. At first, it's really tough, and you don't want to do it. He puts up a personal best in Sector 1. Tony Cal with a 130.0.
Yeah, that was fast.
Arctic with a 130.090. These guys are so close to each other. Tony Cal spinning it out, saying maybe that's my best I got. Demon moving up to fourth with a 130.9. Tony Cal, unfortunate for him, if he was planning on setting another fire, now has to wash this lap and get ready for maybe one more flyer there.
That's right. We've got less than 2 minutes left of this qualifying session, and it's interesting to see that Moose also went flying off. So maybe the two of them just pushing a little bit harder than the cars can handle on these Sports Softs tires. It's not the highest downforce car, it's not the grippiest tire, but Arctic maybe if they're on a faster lap, we'll have to see. But yeah, there's almost no time splitting them. 2/100ths of a second, man. That is just nothing.
Extremely close for these two. Yeah, they have their work cut out for them today, that's for sure. It's really going to be interesting to see how the reverse grid ends up playing into a factor as far as which of them is going to be more successful. I feel like Arctic generally has been able to slip through the madness that occurs at turn 1 a bit faster than Tony Cal. Tony Cal seems to be a bit, maybe, I don't say a bit more patient, but, it just seems to be like he hangs back a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's a choice by Tony Cal. He'd rather sit back, knows that he'll be able to work his way through the field, and isn't in such a rush to get through. As we see, Arctic is actually 0.8 down. Moose 5 seconds down. He was off mowing the grass as well, and Tony Cal's going to come across 15.5 seconds down, just about. Again, he's on his last hot lap though. We'll see if he can make it count and hold his P1, his pole position.
Steezy improves, but is not able to go faster than Gilly.
Marino knocks him down.
Demon, notably, man, having pace, is still holding forth very well. Marino, like I said, demotes Steezy down to 7th place. Let's check out Purple Urkel. He put a 133.5. Not quick enough. How about Pato? He's coming around the way. No, that is not going to be an improvement from Pato, unfortunately for him. And he may just cross the line. He's got 3 seconds to cross the line. I don't think he's going to be able to get that. Is unfortunate for him. I think that might be it. Yep, he is off in Neverland.
Done. Yep.
He was close. If he hadn't gotten off, he would have been able to possibly improve on that lap. Unfortunate for him. Man, Demon coming out of nowhere, qualifying 4th.
I mean, the man has just claimed to not like the car. I do think he mentioned he wanted to put in a lot of practice, but notably there's no rain for him to be afraid of this week.
That's true. Demon notorious for making a right on a straight in the rain. He had a tough time there in the rain the last couple of weeks, and Dry tracks today. No rain in the forecast at all, so he should be happy.
That's right.
And good. I mean, it's good to see him. It's good to see him up there putting up those times. He has best as a 1:30.9. Steezy does he have an answer? Steezy's able to get past Marino once again. Takes 6th place, but notably, Gilly splitting up this love triangle right between these guys, maintaining 5th place. Let's see
as he crosses the line what he'll be able to do.
He's Tony Cal saying so close. Yeah, man, this is very, very close. Not able to improve for Gilly. Who else do we have?
Take a look at Purple. Purple's coming down the start-finish line now. No good. Must have had a moment there at 1:44.2. So Tony Cal taking pole position, which for him is so important right now.
Yeah, absolutely important. I mean, like we said, we went into today with 2 points separating both Tony and Arctic for the first place in this championship drive. Really though, I mean, even Mooseman being a bit of a ways off in that qualifying, I'm pretty shocked at those times that Tony and Arctic were able to put up. In fact, they were able to find almost a half second for Moose. It's pretty impressive.
Yep, Moose is gonna have his work cut out with to keep ahead. You know, the time difference between Arctic and Moose is just 1/10 less than the distance between Moose and Demon. And I'm saying that to just say that Moose is going to have a lot of work keeping up with those two.
Mm-hmm.
If Tony Cal allows Arctic to get through around turn 1, he's just going to look to disappear, as we've seen. But really, in the second half of the season, I got to say, Arctic hasn't been able to pull away like he used to.
No, I don't know if Tony Cal decided to finally show up or what, but he has been making life harder for Arctic, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Tony in chat saying Gilly mixing in with the Three Musketeers. He's the lone Swede betwixt a few American flags over there.
He just wants to get in on some of the love, you know.
Yeah, you know they got plenty to go around.
They've got things going on,
and notably for Pato, number one, huge improvement over the course of the season for sure. And I mean he's within about a second of Purple in front of him. Just gotta hang in there.
1.2 seconds is just about separating them.
So I mean, it's a matter of maybe trying to learn the lines behind him and whatnot. But also notably, he'll have a great chance going into the reverse grid race. So we'll be starting the race here in just a moment. Everyone, grab some popcorn. This is bound to be a good 30-minute race here before the reverse grid starts. All right, it looks like the room is setting itself up. We're going to go and spectate. Make sure we actually catch the beginning of this race once again. And boom. Move down with a few spots. We are waiting for these lights to come up and then come down, and we'll be starting the final race of the MX5 Cup Series here with the Ames at Road Atlanta. All 5 lights are up. And the lights are out. We are live, ready to go, and everyone's off the line. Gilly looks like he has a fantastic start off the line. We're at the moves, but Tony Cal able to pull ahead and maintain his position ahead of Arctic going in to turn 1 here. Demon having a good launch, but notably on the inside line holds fourth place here. Gilly having a run there on the outside of him. Going to have the inside going into this next turn. I think Demon may have managed to stay ahead of there, and we are off here today at Road Atlanta. Going down the S's here. Still quite a close pack, but already you can see the difference between Demon and he's got a second and change gap between himself and Moose in third. So Moose is going to try his very best to stick with the guys up front and stay with them, while Demon maybe just creating sort of a slipstream train behind them.
That's right. Steezy looking to have a move on Marino, I see coming down. And yeah, Moose is just going to look to stick with the two guys up front and create some space, right? This is the trend we kind of see. I think Moose is probably aware he doesn't have the pace to really win unless the other two screw up, but he has the pace to keep up with them, and that's a big difference between the guys behind him.
Yeah, absolutely. And still you can see that gap ever increasing between Moose and Demon. Now, I mean, closer to 2 seconds than 1 second now, and that's pretty wild. Oh, and notably, these two going side by side. Arctic just pulling ahead and takes first place from Tony Cal. Holy, that was some close driving there. A fantastic move there by Arctic to be able to pull ahead.
That was awesome to see. And Moose is going to have a run now. He's got the slipstream on Tony Cal. Will he make a move to turn one?
Sorry, I hit the wrong button there. Oh, and Arctic messes up. Arctic goes into the grass, handing Tony Cal back pole position and letting Moose slip right into second place. I mean,
man had the aura of Tony Cal. I guess he finally succumbs to it.
Wow, look at this. Look at the speed that Moose has right now down the S's, though, compared to Tony Cal. He's all over him right now.
He is. I think he's going to try. Well, he's going to have a look on the outside, and this is going to be a tough place. Oh, he's got track limits penalty.
Got a penalty. That last uphill of the S's, when you're making the left, it's so easy to get track limits there, and I can guarantee you that's exactly where that's from.
Yeah, I would absolutely guarantee it. Arctic, his dirty tires not helping him out, but he's still in shape. He's not far behind Moose now, and he's going to get ever closer with this half-second penalty. Moose is serving momentarily. You
know what? Arctic's mistake, and then these guys fighting a bit, has allowed Demon to catch back up a bit with these guys.
Demon's in it right now.
Demon is in it.
Steezy getting past Giller now, having a run on this back straight.
I'm
sure
now
Giller's going to come back.
Demon ahead of Mooseman into third.
Who is Demon? Is someone else driving for Demon right now?
He must have hired someone, right?
Yeah, he paid someone off, I think.
Happy to see that. We'll stick on board with Arctic, though. A second down on Tony Cal. This is exactly what Tony Cal wants. He needs to be able to maintain some sort of a gap between himself and Arctic. And he'll hope that maybe Arctic has another moment and sends himself into the grass, turning into a Honda lawnmower. Because otherwise we know Arctic is going to look to get his elbows back out like he did just within the first lap.
That's right. Now, again, we're seeing the speed that Moose has in these S's, and it's letting him, again, stay right behind Demon, and he's going to have the slipstream coming up on this straight to the 90-degree turn coming up, and will he have it a look? No track penalty this time for Moose Man.
No, I don't think
he's going to have a look. He's going to be patient.
He pulls out. He's gonna. I think best for him to tuck in until there's a long straight that's coming up.
Absolutely hard to agree. It's stupid, especially as they're coming up now in the slowest and tightest corner. They're both eating a lot of the curb on that exit, but they're keeping it clean. And now it's going to be a drag race with the two of them down at the chicane.
A drag race down, but notably, I think Moose may have put a little too much tire into the grass. That slowed him up quite a bit. But it looks like they are now going side by side. Moose carrying a bit more speed as he reclaims third place and putting up a purple sector on lap number 3. Behind them, Steezy getting awfully close to Demon now.
Steezy. And we got Marino on purple fighting at it as Marino just pulls ahead before they break into the chicane. Whether he's more brave with the brakes or the slipstream helped him get past as well. That was a clean move from Marino, getting past purple, trying to reclaim some spots.
Yeah, these two look like they're trading places just a little bit here, but I assume Purple must have had a good move on him earlier to get past. But notably, Purple's going to have the slipstream going down into Sector 1. Sector 1, tough place to really pass until you get down past the S's and past the little uphill section.
Yes, it is. If you could do your best to stay right behind them through the S's, it's going to obviously play into your benefit. And again, we don't really have dirty air coming off these cars, which makes it much easier to follow through the S's.
Yeah, it really does. And not a whole lot of downforce on these cars to be getting messed up with that, I suppose. But I don't think he's close enough to make a move here happen, though. That slipstream down the next long straight should make a difference. Marino maybe going a little bit wide through this double apex turn here. He hits the apex on the second one, and it looks like he has a good run out. So I don't think Purple's close enough for that.
Up ahead, Arctic had a much better exit on that tight corner, that tight 90-degree, and it is now 2/10 or so, almost 3/10 behind Tony Cal. But is he going to be braver on the brakes once more into this chicane? Tony Cal's going to close the door, not let it happen once again. That was a good defense from Tony Cal. I do think it would have been a bit of a dive for Arctic to make that attempt, but let's keep it clean. And now he's going to have to follow Tony Cal down the start-finish line into the S's once more.
Notably, I think Arctic has to be a bit patient here, and just know like he has another 25 minutes basically of this race left to go, so he has the time, and he's brought down this gap from a second down to half a second now. I mean, so he's gaining on Tony Cal. Notably, and it's important to think we in the Group 3 series races we tend to think about strategy and think, well, maybe someone's trying to scrub off time here or save tires, save fuel, but we don't have that here. So this is just pure pace that Arctic is able to pull up on Tony. Granted, once you get into the slipstream, it does help quite a bit. But
that's right. I was going to say, now Arctic got that penalty that Moose got a couple of laps ago. I was going to say, check out how much speed Arctic carries through those turns that Tony Cal isn't. And it's really, I think, letting Arctic catch up there a lot, but this penalty is not going to help him out. And Tony Cal did have a better exit than last lap around there.
I got to wonder, I don't know, I mean, where did the pace come from in qualifying from Tony compared to Arctic? Because they were not split by much at all. And maybe it's just the race adrenaline pumping through you. I mean, fighting for, this is the last time that Tony Cal is going to have to fight for first place for the championship. Maybe that's going through.
Right. Steezy getting past Gilly just at the chicane. They were having a drag race down again, and that slipstream just coming out to play right at the last second, and Steezy was able to make it past him just before they entered the braking zone at the chicane. Really good move, but again, now we've got Giller. So this is a common move I think we're seeing play out here already, where if you've got the slipstream on the back straight, you're going to be able to make that move, but are you going to be able to keep up or create some gap between you and the person behind you through the S's? And in this case, it's not happening. Giller was right up behind Steezy.
Yeah, it's tough to, especially there's not that many passing points on this track, right? I mean, especially with the first sector being a really technical section, you really are not passing each. Oh, Gilly has a moment. He may be getting a penalty for going off there. Unfortunate for him. And that's going to be it for his fight with Steezy for now. Behind him, Marino catching up a little bit. 1.2 seconds behind. And Gilly slides again, goes off the track.
Gilly's dirty tires not treating him too nicely as Arctic is down on that main straight right behind Tony Cal now. Is he going to make a move this time?
We'll catch up with them.
I don't think so. He's further back behind.
I don't think he's going to be able to.
Last time.
I don't think he's going to be able to.
No, so Tony Cal notably must be getting a better exit to be able to increase that gap there.
That's got to be the biggest thing. Straight. I wonder what their lines are looking like going through the double apex here and the 90-degree turn.
Turns 6 and 7 there.
Thank you.
Real pain in the behind. I do. It just feels, especially the turn 7, it just feels so slow, and I always forget how slow I have to go through there.
And it's also kind of it's noble. Like you can go wide to try out of turn 7 to get onto the main straight and carry as much speed as possible, because they do have the curbing on the left-hand side, right? But it's also very easy to go too wide, and then all of a sudden you have a tire in the grass and you're not gaining speed there. So we'll have to actually jump on board maybe with Arctic. We'll go into the cockpit view and see if we can see a difference between their lines at all.
Yeah, I think it also comes into play. You have to think about where to prioritize your exit versus your entrance speed. And in this case, you want to set yourself for a good exit for this straight, right? Especially when you have slipstream. Now the distance over a second between the two. So I don't know if that's the difference there or just their line, but Tony Cal once again creating that space, and he's going to be very happy to see that.
Yeah, and notably there too, you did see Tony going wide, because obviously the faster that you go through a corner, you're not going to be able to rotate your car as much. Your car is going to be pushed out further wide. So if you're, the kind of thought is if you're new to this, it's if you're able to place your car in the center of the track while you're and you're making a turn, you're pushing your car. You're not going fast enough. Basically, you're not carrying enough speed. The faster you go, the more you're pushing your car out to the outside of the track. But that's the entire goal, is to carry as much speed as possible while rotating the car just enough earlier in the turn to make that turn. So again, we saw that from Tony Cal earlier, just the lap previous, where he did carry more speed through that turn and was able to bring that gap. We see that gap coming down now through sector 1. It looks like Arctic has a better line, has better pace than Tony Cal through there, but it seems like Tony's able to make up for it for a better exit.
Actually, behind them in P5 and 6, Marino did get past DZ at the last chicane, and they're having a close fight again through the S's, just like we're seeing up front. So if you're able to stick with the driver in front of you, man, this is just causing us to have some really close races through those turns, and especially the chicane, like we said before.
Good job by Steezy for catching back up. I mean, good job by Marino too, because he had fallen back down to 8th place, I think. And
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And notably, I do see Pato up to 8th place. And if we look at the mini map, you see Gilly must have had, and well, they were close together. Gilly must have had another moment now, because Pato had fallen behind Purple, and then when Gilly had the moment between 6 and 7, Pato caught up, but they were still close behind each other. And now, notably, Gilly having a lot of ground to make up now. Unfortunate for him.
That's right. Back to Steezy Marino. Steezy pulling off the same move Marino just pulled to him. Oh, but Steezy outbraking himself, ends up in the dirt just there. That's not going to help him stay ahead, as Marino now very comfortably ahead of Steezy.
I don't think he outbroke himself. I think Marino threw a red shell.
I mean, it's a meme audio, right?
It's a meme audio. That's what he does. Demon, again, in no man's land, but he is having a good race for himself. These are going to be quite the points for him to lap up at the end of this race, as long as he's able to keep it going on. It looks like he's getting along with the car today. He likes the track. You love to see it. We jump back up front with Mooseman.
I'll tell you what we did miss up front. Arctic getting past Tony Cal.
We did miss that. I wonder where that happened.
Sorry, gents. There's other things going on. But Tony Cal, not far behind him. It may not be Arctic's place for long. I wonder if Tony Cal maybe dipped a tire in the gravel or got a penalty, because, we saw that gap was over a second as they were heading down the back straight where they're at now. But Tony Cal's very close to Arctic now. I think he's going to be patient. Probably won't look to push it, but we shall see.
He's awfully close now.
He's right there. Never mind. He's not going to be patient. He's going to go back for that race lead, see what he can do. He's in the preferred spot for it, too. He can really control this chicane. And see what Arctic... Yep, he closes the door on Arctic there. Get a little bit squirrely on the exit. But,
great driving by these two. Great driving. Makes me fizzy in the secret spot.
Now this first turn they're coming up, it's a fast uphill right-hand sweeper. It's a little bit blind for me of knowing when exactly to turn it, because as wide as it is, it just feels so different in every car, right? So you really have to learn that first turn with your car, and then now they're coming up on the S's. Just a series of great corners, and again, with this Miata, you can really use the weight transfer to help you around it. And this is where we've seen a couple people already get the penalty. Notably, Arctic keeping it... Oh, that was kind of close there. I was going to say keeping it nice and tidy. But if you put your wheel just out of line on that right-hand exit, you are going to get a track limit penalty. And down here, we come up to those double right-handers, turns 6 and 7. Again, turn 7 now, the slowest part of the track. And it looks like Arctic following a much more similar line to Tony Cal now. And that gap at 7/10 currently, that slipstream may be coming into effect shortly for Arctic. We'll have to see it at that time. Yep, it started to slowly come down now. Between
that and possibly the shift points, I know that Arctic has been a stickler for pointing it out. Like, the shift points on this car are so particular, where the power just really starts falling off if you try to rev it out too much. Obviously, Tony Cal knows that information as well. But that, in combination with the slipstream, may be helping him out. Notably, Vinrick and chat saying the fight for first is really getting interesting in this race. These guys are going at it, man. These guys are... there's nothing holding them back.
Hey, this championship is decided upon this race for the MX5 Cup Series. They've got to give it their all, with only 2 points separating them, and Tony Cal getting pole position. And Tony Cal currently having fastest lap. Now, we've got another 15 minutes of this race to go, or just under 15 minutes, but yeah, dude, they're going to just be pushing nonstop. And that's kind of the nice thing without having tire and fuel wear. It's just quali lap after quali lap after quali lap, but you're going at it for 30 minutes straight. It's a lot.
It's quite, yeah, it's absolutely a lot. And I feel like that's what having the second race as a reverse grid is kind of nice, just because you have to be on your toes, and especially earlier in the season when you had way too much messy
Carnage.
turn ones and carnage and everything else like that. But it has gotten a lot better recently, which is you love to see it. And but I feel like it also it's almost like a breath of fresh air for these guys to be fighting their way up from the back of the pack, and so you can kind of take a breather. You're not defending, like Tony Cal and Arthur, they've been defending this entire race basically, and from someone behind them. With the reverse grid, it's like, okay, cool. You avoid any of the carnage going on in front of you, and you try to take those opportunities to get to the front when you can.
Yeah, that's right. Speaking of getting to the front, Arctic seemed to have carried a ton more speed through the last corner. He took a slightly different line than Tony Cal. I'm not sure what caused it, but Arctic really closed up there. And I was going to say props to Moose again, proving us right that he's got the pace to stick with them. And it's just going to be looking to capitalize on any mistakes or fighting that they continue to do. And we've seen this in a few races now from Moose in these MX5 Cup Series. We know he's a quick racer. There's no doubt about that. But he can just hold on enough to reap some rewards occasionally.
Yeah. I mean, I think it depends on the car too. Like in the Group 3 series, we swapped cars a little bit, and that caused us some issues, and for the drivers as well. And it could be a track by track basis for sometimes as well. But yeah, Moose is right up there with these guys too this race, and again, like you said, he's ready to pounce, man. I don't think he's put a toe out of line really yet so far, and
not in the race that I've seen. He got the one penalty.
Yeah, I mean, notably that gap now increasing a bit more to over a second and a half now. See Arctic again awfully close to Tony Cal. Tony Cal going defensive, breaking the toe a little bit and taking the inside line of the chicane. Arctic not going to be able to pass it just yet, but it looks like he had
Arctic
a
going to get a much better exit
run
here, though.
Yeah, that was a really great exit from that chicane. Holy.
I think Arctic's going to have to look here. Yep, just squeaking in there.
That's a great run out from the chicane. I mean, you think like 2 corners ago, and it's making up for it now. As he takes first place away from Tony Cal. Tony Cal is not going to take that lane down, though. He is ready to fight back. We'll jump on board with Tony Cal. I really love the cockpit view of this as we're following these guys along.
Oh, it's an absolute blast. And this Miata is one of the best, I feel like, for driving in cockpit view. It's so open compared to some of the, especially the Group 3 cars.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's interesting to note at the beginning of the S's, Tony takes a more shallow line into it, going aggressively on the curbing. As we see these guys are side by side. Arctic leaving him just enough room, though. Kudos to these drivers.
That was a bold move, though. I think he's just trying to put the pressure on Arctic.
Yeah. Notably, though, look at the time for who's right behind is Mooseman.
Yep. Moose enjoying this draft as well. Very much into the mix now. And he's not going to be able to make a move happen here, or I'd be shocked if he does. But look at this. They're side by side. Are we going to see 3 walls?
Second. Oh, what is going to happen here, gents? What are we seeing? They fall back in the line
for now.
They fall in the line.
The better exit here, though.
Arctic once again getting an awesome launch out of there. Tony's still in first place because he has the inside line for this right-hander. But
this is last lap all over again.
Holy.
Last lap all over again. Tony Cal, though, not let him have the inside this turn around, but Moose is right there now.
These guys are not giving it up easy. Not at all.
No, and these 3, we saw them battle it out through Watkins Glen, non-stop left to the left lap. We've seen it again at the Nürburgring, I believe. I mean, we're seeing it again here.
This is a close fight for first. Oh, man, as Moose goes a bit deep into the uphill. I don't know if he may have tapped Arctic there, causing Arctic to go wide.
Just pushing. Doesn't seem to have harmed Arctic or Moose, though, and that's good to see. But it does leave him a little further back behind than he'd like.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, that was some close racing. And once again, though, we're coming down the straight. Moose is definitely close for enough for a tow, and I think maybe close enough. He looks like that time that
he should be, but he's not catching up just yet.
He may have had a worse exit.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
That slipstream just helping suck Arctic ever closer to Tony Cal. Once again, we come to the chicane. Arctic not close enough this time, but he's had a great run for the last few laps after the chicane on Tony Cal. Will he be close enough to carry that speed through again? Let's see. He's under half a second. I don't think he's going to be able to get close enough this time.
Yeah, not nearly as close as he was the last 2 laps. You know what we were probably seeing there down the back straight was Arctic was just that much closer to Tony Cal than Moose was to Arctic, and therefore the slipstream was just even stronger for him.
Yeah, I think you're right. Checking back on these guys, seeing how they're faring. I saw them kind of close on the mini map, so I wanted to make sure that we were all playing nice. It looks like we are. Not quite close enough to have a fight like we're seeing up front here with Tony Cal and Arctic and Moose. Soon. For sure. Looks like the grid has spread out just a little bit here. Notably, also, can we talk about the fastest lap from Tony this race? A 129.
Yeah, sub 130, man.
That was.
I mean,
he went Super Saiyan 3 and was holding out on us. he ain't got no eyebrows no more.
No, but maybe maybe he can get a tail if he goes Super Saiyan 4. He's gonna need it to win this championship, though. That's for sure.
Man, I mean, him coming into it today, 2 points ahead of Arctic. And Arctic is not making it easy.
So close. He's right there. I mean, come on. Look at this. Tony Cal, though, again, taking the proper line to try and maintain that spot. Arctic is right ahead, but we'll see as Tony Cal, braver on the braking there and just able to maintain first place once again. They did swap there for a moment, but again, let's see what happens with this exit. Did Tony Cal learn something?
These guys,
the gap is back up at just under 5 seconds, but Moose is right behind Arctic now.
Got me sweating, and I'm not even racing.
Yeah, really. We've got 7 minutes left in this race. Anything can happen with these three. I mean, it's really just, it could just take one mishap, one of them ending up in the grass, but they've been keeping it clean and tidy for the most part now.
Yeah, it's been nice and tight for the last few laps here. No penalties, no accidents. I mean, these guys have really been going at it. Just look how I mean, man, you really have to trust the other guys on the track that you're with.
You do, and the three of them have shown it all through the series, right? That you can trust one another to keep it clean. And this is the kind of racing you get. You know, we saw it in F1 around Mexico between Lando Norris and Danny Rick. How close they were racing, but there was no contact. And that's what just happens when you can trust the other drivers to do the right thing.
Absolutely, yeah. It's amazing what you can get when the kind of racing that you can get when there's the skill, but also the trust. That guy's not gonna. It doesn't happen with everyone, unfortunately, right? It takes experience and practice and skill to be able to gain all of that. But when you get something like it's quite the show for us.
Yeah. Oh well, actually, yeah. Also, Fernando and Pierre Gasly. Well, a lot of racing, but especially Fernando and Pierre Gasly yesterday.
Oh yeah, they were at the sprint.
That race at Brazil, holy! I'm excited to watch the Grand Prix after this.
Same.
Today, our Grand Prix today.
No spoilers. But man, these guys going at it. We have just over 5 minutes left of this first race, and it could any of these guys could be taking first place today.
Absolutely,
we need
Moose is
one moment.
Honestly surprising me with how tight he's kept this the entire time, and he was very close at one point. He made it into P2 for just a moment and had to really get himself back to P3. But Tony Cal has been leading most laps in this race, and this man deserves a drink after this race. The three of them do. Oh
yeah, for sure. These guys need a drink, maybe a cigarette. If it was that good for them.
Yeah, really. As I'm sure Demon is also feeling. Demon's had Marino behind him for a few laps now. Very close as he's trying to make a move up to P4. Demon's been holding P4, I think, this entire race just about after he got there. And great race from Demon. Great return to form for Demon. You love to see it on the last race. Mm-hmm. And I know Steezy and Marino are both hungry for that spot.
Yeah, I'm sure. I think.
As Moose having a run on Arctic down the back straight.
Let's go. Let's see. Arctic is up on the front. There's enough room for these guys. Mooseman maintains second place for now, going through the chicane, but we know Arctic is not going to give it up that easy.
No, Moose has to see what Tony Cal has done to keep this spot. Moose got to be sweating so hard right now.
Man,
he's got the sweats like we did at dinner last night after the Brazilian steakhouse.
Look how close Arctic is on the rear end of Mooseman, though. I mean, yeah, these guys cannot make a mistake right now. Either of them makes a mistake, and it's not just their race that they're going to crash out on, but it's somebody else's as well. Arctic has got to be kicking himself for allowing Moose to get that close. And I mean, listen, I just said we have under 4 minutes now left in this race. If Moose is able to defend against Arctic, that's all Tony Cal is going to want.
Exactly right. That's going to play straight into Tony Cal's hands. But, you know, we've seen this happen before. We say that, and then Arctic just pulls some wizardry out of his hands and makes a move happen. Anything's going to happen in these last few minutes here, but Moose is definitely going to be happy with that. I think he's going to be bumping Tony Cal down the straight, trying to increase that gap.
Yeah, I'm sure. And look, the gap between Moose and Arctic is increasing. Arctic maybe not having the best exit out of turn 7. Moose ever closer to Tony Cal. I don't see him bumping him. I see him trying to fight him for P1.
I am shocked to see that, but he's got to go for it, I guess. He sees the opportunity.
Oh my God, we're going side by side through the chicane. Tony Cal on the inside of the right-hander. That gives Arctic the door, though, by not working with Tony Cal. Then Moose just gives up third position. Gives it second place.
Was it worth it, Moose? Was it worth it? I don't think so, but Moose still looks in contention. They're coming down the main street now.
Arctic's going to have the inside on this right-hander. I think it's going to be Arctic's place.
Oh, but Moose, if he can hold on just enough, he's going a little bit wide, but he's keeping it clean. Yeah, he's down to P3 right now through the S's. We'll see what they can do once they get on the uphill and downhill section.
Was it worth it? That was some close racing. Arctic has got to be thanking him for fighting with Tony Cal, though.
Dude, again, like, he's got to... Well, I don't know if they have the timer in VR, but...
oh, man, Arctic goes super wide on the exit of that uphill. At the end of the S's, if there is the penalty.
Oh my God!
I was gonna say if he doesn't get a penalty, I will be absolutely shocked. But there it is. He gets a half second at the time when he does not need it. He's gonna be slowing down this lap, giving Mooseman P2, and with just over a minute and a half left in this race, he's gonna need something, and an act of the gods above to make Tony Cal put his toe out of line.
That's right, but Arctic now is going to have the slipstream here, but will he be able to? We saw him do this. We saw him catch up to Tony Cal after making him having a penalty prior. It's not going to happen right now. He's got just just over a lap left.
Thing is, though, so these guys are they're going to be crossing the line with about 29 minutes left. 29 minutes into our 30-minute. This will be the final lap.
That's right. This is going to be the final lap. Any chance of a P1 finish, it's going to have to happen now. No more mistakes can occur for any three of them. Tony Cal has been clean as hell. No penalties notably for him this race that we've seen. Obviously, Arctic did get past him at one point, but he took it back rather quickly, rather easily, it seemed. As we're heading through these S's for one more time for the people up in front, what can Tony Cal do to keep them behind? What can Moose do to keep Arctic behind, which is just going to help Tony Cal with the championship?
Yeah, this is the best place, aside from Arctic binning it, this is the best place that Tony Cal can be in because he has someone between himself and Arctic. And especially just thinking about the points that Arctic's not going to be getting if he can't take P2 away from Moose. This is absolutely massive for Tony Cal, and I don't think Moose is going to be close enough to even make a move.
I don't think so either. Notably behind just in P4 and 5, Demon has a half-second penalty, I should say, and he cuts turn 7 too tight. This is going to give Marino a chance, as well as Steezy behind Marino a chance to make a couple places here. So we've got the fight up in front coming to a close here. What is going to happen as they cross the finish line? Is Arctic going to get a magical exit here?
This is all Tony Cal. That's it. Tony Cal takes first place in the first race. Mooseman second, and Arctic third. We jump back in the grid with Demon. Marino currently fourth place, coming up to the chicane. We got Demon behind him in fifth.
Demon on the inside. Demon, they're keeping it clean. What's gonna happen?
Oh, we go 3 wide. Demon on the curb.
Steezy coming through. Steezy getting the exit of a lifetime.
Steezy getting the
two
run.
places in one turn.
Steezy's gonna take 4th place winning from Demon and Moreno at the final moments of the race.
Demon gives up his demanding P4. He had it the entire race, and that penalty finally outdid him.
The race isn't over yet. We got Purple and Gilly fighting for 7th place. We coming out of the chicane, coming down to the final turn. Gilly's gonna have the inside, but Purple gets a better finish. A better exit, I should say. Once he comes to the race side of the line, Gilly takes it.
Purple.
Like, no time.
Purple just fucking carrying too much speed at the end, pushing it to the very end. And then we have our resident Zugger coming around, not having a great race, unfortunately, putting up those consistent 133s that he did say he was going at, so that's pretty good to see. And Pato comes across the line P9, meaning he will lead our reverse grid race.
What a race was that?
What a finish for just about everyone involved.
I think, yeah, I mean, Marino was the Steezy and Demon sandwich. I don't know if he got pushed wide or what in that scenario, because he was trying to put his nose in maybe where it didn't belong. We'll have to see. But holy, what a race that was! Just across the board,
wicked.
Demon having a fantastic race for himself in 4th place the entire race until the last minute.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, notably, Arctic has got to be kicking himself right now. Arctic, if he did not have that final mistake, getting track limits, he would have secured 2nd, I think.
I think so too. Demon is saying that that he was pushed wide. That is going to have to be reviewed. But yeah, that was just something else, man.
Yeah, I mean, that was just wild. Okay, so also notably at the fin, I didn't see it on screen, but Purple looks like he had a 1 second penalty.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I guess he got it in the last sector.
It might have been, yeah. So even still, like, that was a close fight for 7th between the two of them as well, between Gilly and Purple. What a fight amongst the love triangle of Demon, Marino, and Steezy at the very end there.
Yeah.
Whew.
That was intense as
and
hell.
Actually, look, we were just talking about Pato's laps real quick. His best lap was a 132.
Yeah, I mean, hey, he's got the pace. Hopefully now that he does have better pace, though, he'll be able to keep his lead as we go into the reverse grid. I am curious to see what we're gonna see coming up.
Yeah, that was an absolute banger of a race, if I say so myself.
Yeah, that it was.
Just the absolute banger. Wow. Yeah, so unfortunate for Arctic that to be taking 3rd of that race. So now
Tony Cal is now 14 points ahead.
Tony Cal holds 1st place before the next reverse grid race with 379 points. Arctic in 2nd with 365. So Arctic's gonna have to get 1st place, and I think Tony's gonna have to come in 4th, right, for Arctic win this.
Let's see here. I'm just gonna do some quick maths on our chart to see what's gonna happen. So let's just assume Arctic gets P1 and Tony Cal gets P2. Yeah, so it looks like Tony Cal is gonna have to come in, I think, P4, like you said.
Assuming Arctic takes 1st.
Assuming Arctic takes 1st.
Yeah. That's gonna be a tough thing to make happen.
That's right.
Anything can happen for sure. But with the way Tony's been driving those last couple of weekends, man, I don't know.
Yeah, the man's been quick.
Yeah, Tony's saying Arctic will win by 1 if you come P4. Yep.
Yeah, and that's assuming Arctic gets P1.
So we're just getting we are getting the lobby set up for the reverse grid race here. If you happen to be new here and don't know what a reverse grid is, basically whoever came in last in the first race will be starting up front in first place for the beginning of this race, and whoever won last race will be starting at the back of the grid. So in this instance, Tony Cal would be at the very back of the grid in 9th place, and Pato, since he lost, would be starting in 1st place. And then, of course, everyone else will just be following suit. So Moose starts in 8th, Arctic starts in 7th, etc., etc., etc. Man, I feel like I need a cigarette after that one.
Yeah, really. I am curious to see where I'm sure Demon's going to post that up for review at the end. I can't say for certain what I saw, but yeah, it was a real nail biter, Vinric. They made it entertaining, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's absolutely for certain. So it looks like the lobby has been set up. We can go ahead and we'll jump into spectator mode because these clowns always end up doing something in here.
Oh, that's a good point.
Whether it's donuts or grid starts, as I would always recommend.
Wait, did you say they should practice grid starts?
I think they should practice grid starts.
That might be a good idea.
Always something good to do because you know, you're starting somewhere where you usually don't, right? And it's just good to practice your braking points going into turn 1.
Oh God, yeah.
I hope we don't see anyone being sent into the S's and their car being resent for going into the grass.
Yeah, if you go too deep, like actually not even deep at all at turn 1, it'll just send you, set you, and it just basically ruins your race.
It's unfortunate that even with having that setting turned off, that the game still likes to do that.
Yeah, that actually kills me. I don't understand it. Like, I don't know, and especially when it depends on how far deep you are in. Like, even at Spa, for example, at the top of the hill, you know, at the bus stop or whatever. Yeah, at the top of Rouge. Like, if you go too deep at the chicane with the
yes,
rumble strips, it'll just reset you. It's like it would have been just faster if I could go through there. You know
right,
what I mean?
right. Like, I can understand that in sport, right? Because
yes. Even in sport, though, like, I mean, just ghost someone if they go off track.
Right,
and
right.
then ghost them for a little bit when they come back on track, right? Because that would, obviously, in sport mode, we see a lot of unsafe rejoins. Just a heads up for those watching, Gilly just unplugged his PS5 accidentally, and he's going to be jumping back in a moment. But
man, if it was Specs, he'd be blaming his dog.
maybe it was Specs' dog.
Yeah, right.
I was gonna say, yeah, sports mode. Each lobby is hit or miss. You have some really respectful driving. You have some really shit driving. So I feel like that would help alleviate the unsafe rejoins instead of the resets. I mean, like, the only place I feel like a reset would really be warranted is like Willow Springs.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Willow Springs is a bit of a not my favorite place.
It's a bit of a hike sometimes, you know.
Specs' dog traveled to Sweden to sabotage Gilly, confirmed. Caught in 4K.
Are we surprised?
We're talking about like going off track and the track resetting you.
Yeah, like here around turn 1, if you head into the wall, it'll just reset you. Or
even if you turn it off.
Yeah, even if you turn it off. At Spa, if you just go through the like exit road or whatever, at the top of Eau Rouge, it'll just reset you rather than just letting you drive through it.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. It eats up more time when you can really just drive yourself back onto the...
Exactly right.
Yo, shout out to Icarus Gatai for the follow. I know that name.
That was Ice Lancelot?
No.
And wow, we rated. He was friends with Jordan, no?
No, definitely not.
Oh, okay. Are you sure about that?
Mm-hmm.
Mike? No?
No, definitely not.
Well, either way, thanks for the follow. It resets for what the game thinks is a corner cut.
Right.
Yeah, and that just kills me. Give me the penalty, if anything.
Well, it's actually funny, too, because I've noticed, like, before it'll almost sometimes like if you accidentally cut a corner or something like that, if you back off the gas, like if you deliberately slow down sometimes or track limits even, it like doesn't give you a penalty all the time. But if you don't brake at the final chicane here and go straight through the dirt, it doesn't reset.
Right. So like that shit just doesn't make sense to me.
I'd love to see the maps, man. Polyphony Digital be like gerrymandering the reset lines.
Yeah, really.
An 8-second penalty.
Their game testers decide where they are because of how poorly they race.
Oh, true.
You know, I would love to see like the map of what warrants a reset and what doesn't for them.
Right. Yeah, I'd like to see that that list as well. Speaking of penalties,
Pato Zug. I think they let you drive it here because the FD track was near the dirt. Yeah, I would expect that too.
Oh, true.
But here around turn, I guess the turn 1 maybe makes sense. But like if you're crashing to the wall and don't want to spend time reversing, but like if you're still driving the car, maybe don't reset me.
Right. What up, Icarus? See, Pato's doing the responsible thing and practicing his good start. I knew. Okay, I was gonna say Faz or Ferg, and I couldn't remember. It's Fergus.
Fuck, that's right.
Fergus, don't drop the scope.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
Oh, Fazio came here to see Anthony lose. I get it.
Nice. Now he's gonna be a little nervous, man.
Yeah, really. He's got a show to put on.
Steezy chill, man. See, look at Pato.
Faz, are you watching while you're at Adventureland with your wife and daughter?
You mean while the wife and daughter go on rides and he just can sit there?
Yeah.
All right, it looks like Dilly is back in the room, and we will be getting going here. We'll be getting underway in just a few more moments. So, Pato's gonna be doing his damnedest to lead a few laps.
Pato absolutely is. Let's see him. Yeah, Tony Cal's gonna be coming up, and I cannot wait for it. Championship kiss.
That's the rules, right? All the homies got to give a championship kiss.
Oh, that seems fair.
You get a trophy or you get kisses.
Hey, what Kat doesn't know can't hurt her.
Oh, she knows.
That's true. She just
let's be honest. She knows.
Steezy, no, only champions get the kisses.
Fuck that trophy. There's no mid-trophy guy. Chill out.
Yeah. A mid-kiss is like a peck on the cheek from your grandma. How's that?
Bro, Steezy moved up to 4th place with those points.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. Steezy had quite the... All I did was call him mid and he turned up. I don't know what happened.
Good luck. Let's have a clean race. Says Tony Cal's PS5 in chat.
What would Sony's digital assistant be called?
Dude, Steezy, you're right. What would Sony's be called?
Yeah.
Xperia.
You know, we've got Xperia.
What is Purple doing out there? Purple's just straight chilling, munching on some grass.
He's like a lizard just trying to warm up his blood.
Just laying out in the sun, grazing since it's been raining. I didn't know Purple. I didn't know Urkel eat grass. Alrighty.
Urkel ate grass.
Oh yeah, I don't have to reset this. Right. So the final reverse grid race for the MX5 Cup Series underway here in just a few moments at Road Atlanta, and these reverse grids, man, we'll see. Carnage or not? Are we playing bumper cars? We're waiting for the lights to come up. We got 4 lights. We got 5 lights up. And we count down 3. Never mind, that was a fast one. We are underway here. Pato leading the lap in first already. Pato is rapid around here.
Pato actually gets a good launch for a change.
He did.
Man's been practicing. You love to see it.
And he didn't jump the gun. Purple in second. Gilly in third. Demon in fourth behind the Marino. No Carnage just yet. There's not been a real braking zone yet for there to be carnage. So we are going underway. I'm pressing the wrong button. I'm pressing my one key on my computer keyboard, on my PlayStation keyboard.
Looks like CZ had a terrible start. Back down to P9 now in last place.
Yeah, Tony Cal bumped up to 8th place. Penalty for Paddle, unfortunately. Purple has taken that first place from him as well. Looks like behind Arctic is already up to 3rd. Tony Cal's up to 5th. Well, the Arctic, I guess, started in like 7th.
Yeah.
So
Gilly, though, had a moment or something there. He's down to P9, spinning, turning right way early around turn 6. That is very unfortunate for Gilly. Man's got a lot of work to do.
That is his kryptonite, I think, man. His turn 6 and 7. Yeah. We're coming up here now to the chicane for the first time here this race. Purple Arco is now leading. Arctic in 2nd, Marino in 3rd. Tony Cal up in 4th at the moment. We'll see what happens. Marino having a run here on Arctic. He's on the outside, though. He's going to be conceding to 3rd, fighting Tony Cal now. Good job for Marino keeping himself in this race for now. We'll see if he's got a few banana shells or something to throw out to his competitors. Purple crosses the line with a 139.6 at the end of lap 1. Mooseman now having a run on Marino. Tony Cal got past Marino pretty easily. Looks like Marino forgot to install his motor on that MX-5 here. Pato back up to 6th place after serving his penalty. He's looking to have a run here on Marino as we come down to into the S's.
That's right. I'll keep an eye on Pato. Yeah, Gilly, no, for the 2nd race in a row. What a bummer for him. He is quite a ways behind. Of course, anything can happen where he might have someone else to race, but Gilly also is no stranger to comeback drives. So we'll have to see as it goes. But Steezy closing that gap on Pato around those S's, just showing how much better of a line he's got. Arctic coming around turn 6, heading into P1. That was a brave move to make. Purple up into P2 currently. It's not long for him, though, unfortunately, as Tony Cal and Moose are right behind him, and they're just going to have a go. Tony Cal may be giving him a little bump draft. We'll have to see.
It looks like actually Moose may have ran into the back of Tony, which caused Tony to run into the back of Urkel. Looked like it didn't do anything worse for wear for Purple, but he's stuck between these guys, and Arctic is going to be happy that Purple's still there. Let's see, Arctic goes defensive, goes on the inside, gives Purple back P1, but notably Purple goes way deep, and Arctic is now up to 1st. Tony Cal in 2nd, Moose is in 3rd. Purple falling back to places now, unfortunately for him, but Arctic is going to be happy to be up in P1 for now. We'll see if he's able to maintain that position. We'll jump back. Marino in no man's land, trying to catch up with the guys up front. Does he have the pace? Is he fast enough to catch up and form another car on that train? Or is he going to be fall behind and be stuck along with Marino, eating his ass? I mean, right behind, eating his bumper.
No.
And Marino has a moment, and Steezy's up in 4th now.
Yeah, well, Steezy had gotten past Pato at the chicane. Pato was on the outside of it, and then he just broke too hard and didn't carry enough speed to keep up. And then because of Purple's mishap, it allowed Pato to come back to P6. So very happy. But now notably Pato and Purple, and Demon are right behind. So we have a train forming at P5 in the back now. We're starting with Marino to Pato to Purple to Demon. Gilly's still very much in his own race in the back, but Marino, man, got to pick up the pace if you're going to catch up. Steezy up in 4th, just kind of chilling there now. He doesn't have the pace for the guys in the front, but I know he's got pace to maybe keep the guys behind further back. We'll
see what happens. We'll jump back up front with the leaders of the race here, fighting for a championship win here today, Arctic and Tony Cal. Now, notably, once again, Arctic needs Tony Cal to come in 4th, and Arctic needs to win this race for Arctic to take the championship win now after coming in 3rd.
Tony Cal very late there on the brakes, keeps it clean, but giving back that P1.
And going to give P2 to Usman as well. The race has just begun. We have 25 minutes left. We know that's not going to be the end of it. We saw how the previous race went, and if you think it's over, it's not over.
I didn't hear no bell, Wally.
I didn't hear no bell either. We're fighting to the very last minute here at Road Atlanta. We've seen these guys fight before. Let's jump back with our other guys. We got Pato in 6th place now, a 2nd behind Marino. Marino trying to make up that time to Steezy up in 4th place. Trying to maybe actually take a position on merit instead of pushing someone wide. I don't know what that's like.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure because when we played a lot of Forza, our uncle liked to use us as guardrails. So
Yeah, it was great moves.
great moves. Yep. Well, Pato holding on so far. I know Demon's behind is catching up, but their lap times are very similar around the last lap. So we'll have to see what happens. And Purple behind also a very similar lap time. So Pato may be able to keep himself out. Well, I would warn he's going to stay out of last, especially with how far Gilly is back. But again, anything can happen as Demon is definitely going to be having a run on Pato here. And Purple's not far behind Demon. So we've got a slipstream train going on here.
Yeah, Pato went wide at turn 7, unfortunately for him. And he really, Demon tucked in behind him. He could have battled him, honestly, I think, but he chose not to. Now, Pato not going defensive, holding his line on the right-hand side. Cuts in, almost crashes in Demon, but sees him just at the nick of time. And Demon up to 6th.
Bails out, yeah.
Yeah, Purple up to the 7th, and Pato back down to 8th position. Good on Pato for not running into him. He was close to trying to shut a door that was already shut. And he caught himself. He's not worse for the wear than losing a couple positions. But it looked like from that pace, unfortunately, it was bound to happen anyway. But for Pato now, what he wants Purple and Demon to be fighting and to try and keep on the rear end of Purple. Try to make up that time.
Yep.
Not break too late into turn 6 and 7 again.
Ooh, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but up front, Arctic is currently leading. Tony Cal has a half-second penalty, as does Arctic, and Moose is down at P3. These three have been fighting. They were actually like a human centipede, or a Miata centipede, I should say, going through turn 1. It was pretty wild to see. And now this is going to be interesting because of the two half-second penalties up front. Moose is going to get past Tony Cal, that's for sure. But that means Arctic is just going to be slowed down, giving Tony Cal a chance to stay with them as well.
Yeah, well, let's see here. Arctic's going to get past Tony for sure. I don't know if he's going to be... Moose is... Yeah, I think he's going to be getting past Tony. Definitely not enough speed, enough of a slowdown for Arctic, for Moose to get ahead of him as well. But he is at his rear bumper as we come into the chicane. And Tony Cal, man, that's the first penalty we've seen from him. So this today, at the very least.
That's right, yep.
And
again, here they go again. Down turn 1. They're not as close as they were last lap, but still damn close. And let's see who can hold on here through the S's. Moose right on the rear end of Arctic. And Tony Cal looks like to be a bit braver on the brakes, I should say, around turn 1, and just close that gap.
Oh, Tony having a lot of counter steer there, though. And he gets a second penalty for it. That was not going to be what he needs. Now, notably, I really don't think he's trying to get 4th place here. I don't think he's going to be able to do it. I think he's going to hold Steezy off. But
Rick giving him red flags.
Times 2. Yeah, man, that is a hefty penalty.
1 second penalty. Holy crap. It was only half-second last lap, so...
Well, it was a different place.
No.
Moose having a moment, cutting a corner a little bit too much. It's going to give Tony Cal 2nd place for now, but he's going to have to serve that penalty. I don't think, is Moose going to get a penalty for that or not? It doesn't seem like he's going to be getting one.
It looked like more of a racing incident. I don't know if he had to break short. Maybe Arctic took a different line than he was expecting or what. But that will give Moose the slipstream to maybe catch up to Arctic. And again, Tony Cal now back to P3. Not having as clean of a race as we saw previously. And Steezy now, notably not far behind Tony Cal. Is this the prophecy? Is this what we're going to see? Is Tony Cal not going to win the series?
That would be insane. That would be actually wild.
But he keeps up those penalties, man. It's very possible. Steezy's on a charge right now. 3 131s and a 132 for his last lap. Very, very, very similar times to Tony Cal right now.
Yeah, but that's because Tony had the penalties as well.
That's right. Yeah.
So just look at the gap built already. Back up. Second and a half, and going.
Tony Cal's just got to keep it in line, and he's gonna be just fine.
Yeah, keep drawing. Keep your colors in the lines. You think he's teaching his kid that or no?
No, definitely not. Was Tony Cal ever artistic?
No.
I never saw him draw.
I don't know. Beats me, but we do see. What's funny? Gilly with the fastest lap current with a 130.8. I don't know where he pulled that time out of, but he is pushing to catch back up. He is back up to 7th place, notably. So,
yep, Demon must have had a moment. Now Demon's the one lagging behind the pack.
And Paddle's having yet someone else to follow.
That's right. Hey, you know what? Stick in that slipstream, bro. That's like all you need to help tug you along, really, or zug you along.
Zug you along. Oh, excellent. Well put. Well put.
You got to get them in. This is the last MX5 Cup race we got.
Well, check in with Moreno, who is in no man's land, 5 seconds on either side of him between competitors. He's really hoping for a Bullet Bill power-up here soon. Maybe a star. Maybe a triple mushy to boost him down the straights. It doesn't look like he's getting anything but coins, unfortunately for him. So, not really doing much for him there.
Unfortunately, Moreno is very much on his own, on a mushroom in sight.
Maybe he's got a warp pipe he can jump down and skip worlds.
Yeah, that's Pado's green.
Yeah, exactly. We jump back up front. We'll go with Steezy, who has actually cut down that time on Tony Cal again. Tony Cal must have had another moment that we missed.
Yeah, I didn't see anything on my screen. Not that I was watching him the entire time, but didn't see any penalties. So maybe just a bad turn. Getting sloppy.
Vin McGaskin, when is Marino going to get the lightning? I'm waiting for it, man. All of a sudden, these guys are going to have some blooper ink up on their visors.
Yeah, I'll tell you, that lightning would be reminiscent of the qualifying for F1 the other day.
Yeah.
The thunder came out of nowhere. Tony Cal very much quite far behind Moose right now. We know he's got pace on Moose to catch up. Again, just has to keep it clean. Stark difference from his first race where it was like a masterclass, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, these reverse grid races, man, anything could happen. We said it before the race started. And, man, wouldn't you hate to be Tony Cal to just end up in 4th this race and lose by 1 point?
Yeah, man. I mean, again, here. Why don't you stick with Tony Cal real quick? You can see where maybe that time is being lost to Steezy, or was it just a mishap from Tony Cal? Because right now, as you see, he's actually increasing the gap as they're going through turn 1.
I think
and now they're going to be entering the S's.
I think he must have made a mistake. Put a tire in the dirt somewhere.
Yeah, I think so too. Again, no flame against Steezy. He has had a marked improvement all series. The gap dropping just a little bit, but yeah, those S's do seem quite comfortable under Tony Cal's steering wheel, as we now see the gap ever increasing. Tony Cal getting better because Moose up front with a half-second penalty. That infamous exit on turn 5 heading down to that little street there.
And do you remember when we were here with the Group 3 cars and it felt like we got those penalties almost every single lap?
Yes, yep.
Stretch Malone,
got Stretch Malone
chat.
in the house.
Hello. How you doing?
Hello.
Just catching us with our final MX5 Cup Series race of the season. We got a reverse grid going on right now, and we are 9 laps into it. We got about 15, 16 minutes left of the race.
Wally, I'll tell you, it did not look like a reverse grid after about 5 minutes, though, did it?
No, not by any means. These guys, I mean, listen, I know we've had a smaller grid the past couple weeks than, earlier in the season. But, yeah, these guys just rolled up real quick. And
they saw any opportunity and went up there.
Yeah.
The gap is increased growing.
No, but though, even with that penalty, Arctic was staying, I mean, must have been staying pretty close to Arctic for that gap to just be a second and a half. We see the same, similar gap between Moose and Tony in 3rd place. And then, once again, that gap being built between Tony and Steezy.
Yeah, that's right. About half a second increased on the last lap or so.
Yeah, let's jump down with Steezy. Is he making any headway? He's gaining on purple, but losing time on Steezy.
You mean Marino is
mid? I'm saying Marino's mid.
Mid Mario, yeah.
Mid Mario, indeed. He is Peach is in another castle. He's gonna jump back into his Miata and drive to the next one, see if she's there. Purple back up to 6 is a good position for him, and but Gilly's been thirsty behind him, man.
Yeah, look at him. He's got pace.
Gilly put up a 130.8 earlier, which is quick for him. Last couple have been the 131s, and yeah, man, I feel like Gilly like we said earlier, he's been the result of some unfortunate incidents, but today it seems like he's his own worst enemy. Unfortunately, especially around turn 6, turn 7. I don't know if it's something to do with the weight transfer of the car, and it's very easily wants to swing out on you in those turns if you're too aggressive with the inputs, I think. But I mean, he's doing well. You can see how his front end is a bit crunched up on the passenger side.
Yeah, he turned right on the straight, man. Unfortunately, up front though, the gap between Arctic and Moose is closing, as is the gap between Moose and Tony.
Yeah, I think we're in for the long haul here. Last race, it felt like we had nonstop action, basically. This race, it feels like it's just leading up until the last few laps here, as we are over that halfway point of the race. 14 minutes left here, and I mean, compared to last race, this one feels really relaxed, I gotta be honest.
It really does. But again, I think it can happen. We do have Demon catching on Pato, and so Pato's going to be having a fight as Demon
not catching it anymore.
Cursed him. Never mind. He's mowing the lawn, having a little graze. That is deeply upsetting for Demon, putting in all that hard work to catch up, and then just fuck it up.
Feels like how my races go, man. Feels like how my races go.
I feel that. Gilly, though, still catching up to Purple. Not quite close enough to have a move here, but he's slowly chipping away at that gap. And I definitely see Gilly, unless he makes a right on a straight again, I do see Gilly taking P6 away from Purple.
Yeah, I think so. I think Gilly's got the pace advantage on Purple, but again, Purple has just been consistent this series, right?
Yeah,
not the fastest driver always, but just number one, consistently showing up. That's like the big thing. We've had a few drivers. I know we've had some of these guys joined later in the series. Like I think Marino was joined later, but just showing up week after week and putting the time in, you get points for that. And you're I mean, right now he's fighting in the midfield for it for championship points. But notably also just his consistent times, and I don't think Purple makes too many mistakes. Occasionally here and there we see, but I don't ever see Purple like throwing himself off track.
Stretch Malone, thank you for the follow. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Mr. Malone. So
I hate to say it because I was keeping an eye on the guys up front. Tony Cow serving a 1-second penalty. He was closing the gap. He was like really, it was hammer time for him. And now he's got to do the work again. The gap was down to at least 7/10 between Moose and Tony. But now the gap between Arctic and Moose, 4/10, 5/10.
Yeah, Vidrick with another red flag.
That's 3 for Tony. That's right, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Tony wants Moose to be able to fight with Arctic to slow him down a little bit and bring Arctic to him. But, I mean, Moose has done great these past 2 races to keep up with these two. Obviously, I think the slipstream being a big component of that as well. But we saw in qualifying pace difference, he was a half second off these two. And
yeah, but he's doing it, man. Once again, proving to us that he's got pace. And again, I think not everyone is the best at qualifying pace. Like again, I can speak from personal experience. My race pace tends to be much better than my quali pace.
Right. No, I'm with you there. Normally, though, we'll get this time coming down, and we'll get the fastest lap again from Tony with a 1:29.
Hey, the man might have to serve some penalties, but he's at least likely to get that fastest lap extra point. And I got to give kudos to Purple holding off Gilly. And let's see, I'm sure Arctic's going to look to hold off Moose as well when he does start attacking.
Yeah, I think Moose lost a little bit of time around turn 6 and 7. Maybe didn't have the greatest exit out of it going down to this straight. Where normally he might be within the striking distance. He's awfully close, but I don't think he's close enough here. And he's going to tuck behind.
It would be pretty brutal. Faz, or Icarus, for the people that don't know him, they're getting time penalties for track limits, so exceeding where the game states it's legal to drive. So it's different based on the racing series. Gran Turismo, I think people told us it's
not always the white line.
it's not always the white line. You could go like as far as the curbs as long as one tire is on the curb. As Arctic goes wide at turn 1, giving Moose P1. Tony up to P2 now, and Arctic is going to have dirty tires. That is tragic for Arctic.
Unfortunate. The guy's been leading this race since like lap 2 or 3, I think, and now once again we're coming down to the last 10 minutes of this race, and Tony Cal is ahead of Arctic now. Arctic was doing all of that work, and he was getting lucky too with Tony getting those penalties. And there we go. There's a half second.
There's his.
Unfortunate for Arctic, man.
Definitely needs a smoke after this. Just note that Giller did get past Purple. I said it wasn't long. Purple did put up a good defense. A stout defense, but it has happened. And now we see Tony and Moose. Arctic will be back. I'm sure he's still got 8 minutes left in this race. But it looks like a Tony Cal P4 finish is not in the cards.
Not quite yet.
Unless something tragic happens.
Hey, his steering wheel might disconnect. Who knows?
Now, Tony Cal, well, hopefully not. He says he fixed it. We'll see. Tony Cal knows he's got pace on Moose. Does he look to A, just get past Moose as quickly as possible, or B, push him along on any straights to increase the gap to Arctic? It's almost a 4-second gap, and I know Arctic can cut that down pretty quickly. Like we've seen it before. With
the gap, I think you try it for a lap or two, assuming neither Moose nor Tony really make any mistakes.
Yeah.
And I think you give it a shot, and if it works out for you, then great. If you notice after a lap or two that it doesn't work out, because there's no way that Arctic's going to be taking out like a half second per lap.
Never mind. They won't know that because you can't see that in VR.
That's right. You can't see the deltas in VR.
The delta. What an idiotic thing to not be able to see.
Well, we see what they can see is the rear bumper of the car in front of them, and Tony Cal knows that he can see who's right in front. He's coming down to turn 7 once again, and we've seen Tony Cal pull the old switch through here before on Arctic earlier in the race. We know that he's going to be catching Moose here in just a moment as the slipstream pulls him ever closer to the rear end of Moose. He pulls to the side. We'll see here now, is he going to go side by side or is he going to give him a bump? It looks like he is not giving him a bump.
I think he was trying to fool Moose there into covering it off, and now he's got the inside line of the chicane here, which is where you want to be for the most part, so you can try and control it. And there it is, cleanly ahead, even before he's really in the chicane.
Yeah, that was
that was it.
That was a big brain move if I've ever seen one from Tony Cal. And Moose really not having an answer for it, not able to do much about it, just is what it is and lets it happen. Just lays there and starfishes a little bit there. But Tony Cal now notably can't make any mistakes. I know that Arctic's a good 4.5, 5 seconds from him. But we do still have 6 minutes left in this race. If he makes a mistake, he puts a tire into the dirt or gets a penalty. That's just time being given to Arctic to try and catch up. We'll keep our eyes on these guys while we check out the rest of the grid, see what's going on. Steezy holding up fourth like no problem. He's got 5 seconds to Arctic, 6.5 seconds to Marino in 5th place. Marino, same exact position, just one behind. He's in no man's land. He's running his own race, fighting his own demons, trying to catch Princess Peach. We'll see what happens with him. Gilly, 6th place, is past Purple, past Paddle after Gilly's incidents, I'll say. He's not too far ahead of Purple, but we know that Gilly's got the pace, so I'm sure he'll be pulling ahead.
That gap has increased over just this lap alone.
Yeah, I don't know if he's got the pace of Marino today. I mean, these guys were really close regardless, and he would have to make up quite a bit amount of time in the remaining 6 minutes of this race. If we jump on board with Purple, he's not got a race. He's going to finish up 7th, basically, unless Gilly has another moment. With a second,
anything's possible.
Anything's possible for sure. We have a 17-second gap between Purple and Paddle in 8th place. This would be a great finish for Paddle to come in 8th place instead of 9th for this race. He's got 3.5 seconds here on Demon, so Demon can make up the time for sure. Demon's got pace here today. We know that. He's made a few mistakes here in the second race, which has led to him being in 9th for at least 2/3 of the race by now. But we will see what happens if Paddle's able to maintain that position from back up front with their runners.
Demon, of course, made that mistake, and he is slowly catching up to Pato. We'll see what he can do in the next 5 minutes. Moose got past Tony Cal once again at the chicane. It's the most popular passing place we're seeing in this race around this track, and that's kind of to be expected. You have this long straight where Tony Cal and Moose are coming up on right now. You get a proper exit, and you're close enough to the car behind you. It's you're gonna look to make a pass. So Tony Cal looking to reclaim P1 possibly. He's still 3.5 tenths back, but we do see that time plummeting as he's got the slipstream. Will he make a move? The gap behind, almost 5 seconds now. It seems pretty clear to me that with them having the toe on one another between Moose and Tony, it seems clear to me that Arctic is likely not going to catch up.
Right. I think this may be just how it plays out. Oh no, as we see Demon getting past Pato. Pato must have had a moment where he is now.
Yeah, those 3 seconds of change was not made up in half a lap. That's
no,
for sure.
I would be amazed if Demon was able to do that.
The cast of curse strikes once more.
Can't get away from him, man.
God forbid we commentate.
So yeah, at this point, it looks like the race is basically, played out how it's going to play out. We've got 3 minutes left, just over 3 minutes left here. And really, we have Tony Cal and Moose fighting for P1. Tony Cal can just let Moose have P1 if he wants it, really. He's got this championship in the bag at this point.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Either way, it doesn't matter. Tony Cal will come in first for the championship, which, again, he knows that, right? It doesn't make a difference to Moose's position whether he comes in first or second in this race. But Tony Cal, I wouldn't be surprised if he's just going to go for the
clean sweep.
The clean sweep, the hat trick, whatever you want to call it. I know a hat trick is technically 3 in a row. I'll take the pole, fastest lap, and fastest lap. But the addition of 2 P1 finishes, we'll have to see. He's having a run. They're side by side now down this main straight. Moose is on the inside, not letting that same mistake happen. But Tony Cal is just getting ahead now. And I don't know if Moose is going to be able to answer. It cuts that apex nicely. And looks like he's going to maintain P1 right now. Tony Cal, that was actually really good defense from Moose, I got to say.
Yeah, kudos to Moose for that defensive defense into the chicane. These guys are just having fun now, right? I mean, you don't want to ruin your race.
Wally, the gap behind is dropped by a second because of it.
Yeah. But we have 2 minutes left of this race. Just over 2 minutes.
It's not likely.
Anything can happen. Anything can happen. What's the gap between Arctic and Steezy? Yeah, we have so much time. Something unreal would have to happen to Tony Cal. Lightning striking his house and resetting his modem, maybe.
Steezy, presenting his mid-self, does have a 1 second penalty now. Just living up to it. But a P4 finish again for Steezy, man.
Yeah, he's getting
nothing.
I'm excited to see what Steezy can do next season. I know we won't be racing these cars, but someone who we've seen a lot of improvement out of this season. Demon also, we've seen a lot of improvement out of the season, contrary to what his current position looks like. And that just means more competitive racing for us in the future, as we see once again Tony Cal all along the rear end of Mooseman.
He was just giving him bumps, I think, along that straight until he says, okay, now I'm going to poke my head out and see what we can do. Moose, again, taking the defensive line. It seems he's learned from his mistakes, but didn't cut the apex quite as much. Still in front, but Tony Cal is ever closer once again. Is Tony going to make a move around turn 1? We'll have to wait and see. Just sitting behind that slipstream, or maybe Tony Cal is just saying, all right, let's just go. The gap,
I wonder if you can see the race timer.
No, he can. Oh, the race timer itself? I don't know. I think you can.
Or a lap counter, because, if it's about a minute and a half laps, like...
Right.
It's going to be about 30 minutes.
Yeah, Tony Cal wants P1, and frankly, I think he knows when he's got to push it just to get in front.
Wow,
especially with how close he's been. Look at this.
The speed at which he was carrying. He trusts Moose for sure.
Yes.
That was wild to see. And we have 20 seconds left, so this will be the final lap of the race here. As we're coming down, it looks like the sun is setting here at Road Atlanta as well. The sun is setting on the MX5 Cup Series Season 1 here at the Ames. We do have one final race here this season with the Group 3 series at the Nürburgring, which is going to be fantastic to see. But as far as this series goes, man, Looks like we are going to be wrapping up here in just a few more corners. We're back down on this.
And how else to wrap it up with Moose and Tony having a race of just racing each other down to the finish line, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, these guys have been doing this lap after lap now for the past few. Yeah, exactly. And happy to see it. Oh, Tony Cal going a little bit sideways. I'm going to give Mooseman the opportunity to just pull ahead and take first place for this final race of the series. And here we go. He goes sideways. He knows this is it. And that
Tony
is
Cal wins the Ames MX5 Cup Championship. Congratulations to Tony Cal, as we see Arctic cross the line at P3, Steezy coming around P4.
Everyone's
sideways,
sending
it doesn't matter.
Everyone's sending it sideways. Now we're seeing yellow flags. Marino Gilly having the run over there. Wow. Holy moly, Gilly. Marino must have had a moment there.
Gilly just had a hell of a race. He was thirsty.
Absolutely
he was hungry.
Wild. Purple Poland in 7th for the race. Demon back in 8th. And Pato in 9th, going to be crossing the line. But we got to give it to our boy Tony Cal, taking first place in the championship for the MX5 Cup Series, and fastest lap to boot for that 129.9. Very, very, very well run. I think that was a series that Tony fought hard the entire way through. I'd say he was definitely in his best form these past couple of weeks, though.
I just say, and the man says he didn't practice for today's race.
That's bullshit.
Road Atlanta is such a classic.
He does like Road Atlanta a lot. I'll give that to him. And kudos to Moose for winning that final race as well. We'll take a look at their results for this reverse grid race. And, yeah, so here it is, just laid out just like that. Mooseman in first, Tony Cal second, Arctic in third. Arctic, man, put up quite the fight today. And a few mistakes here and there.
That moment, man, just cost him in the second race especially.
Yeah. But, I mean, what a fantastic way to end the series here. Tony Cal taking first place in the championship with 405 points. Arctic second with 380 points, and Moose ending 322, taking home third in the championship. What a fantastic way to end the series. Road Atlanta, this makes for some really good racing, this track. I was a bit surprised at first, but it did very, very well. Honestly, the close racing down the slipstream down the back was like spot on. It was like chef's kiss.
It was. And you know what? It really, if you were close enough, obviously, you saw it time and time again. People were just trading places back and forth. And it just led to that close racing, having that back straight, I think really just helped keep the cars closer and gave us so many passing opportunities. It was just a great race and great track to end the series on, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was a great time. And we will be sunsetting the MX5 Cup Series for next season. We will. So let's tell our viewers about what our plans going forward are.
So our plans going forward, we're going to take after our race next Sunday, we are going to take a bit of a break. We'll be taking a break from our Sunday races. We will be doing our weekday lobbies, and I think we're going to look to, like Wally mentioned earlier, have maybe some racers do some commentating, give ourselves a chance to race as well, and just keep the stream going. We don't want to give ourselves and everyone let's a month and a half off. But we do plan on starting up again after the new year. It's a busy time of year for everyone, all the holidays and all that jazz. And so, let's talk about what races we're going to be doing next season.
Well, first off, like Ryan said, we do have the final race for the Manufacturer Series next week, and that's going to be the Group 3 Series at Nürburgring. And we're actually doing something special for that as well. Yeah, we'll be doing a sprint race at the beginning as well, which will be exciting. I'm looking forward to that. That'll be on the Grand Prix track, of course, because for the full race, we're doing the 24-hour layout in the evening. What a fantastic way to end that series. That's going to be a blast. And we do have a couple of close contenders for that as well, I believe, as far as the points go. if I can find it on
see if
Google.
Sheets wants to.
Here we go. So currently for the manufacturer series, you go for it.
Oh yeah, so Moose in the manufacturer series is currently in P1 with 152 points. In P2 is Tony Cal at 148, and then P3 is Gilly at 118. But right behind Gilly in P4 with 117 points is Arctic, and so that's going to be a really close fight for P3 and P1. It's they're both going to be really just hoping the other person that's contending with them has a terrible race. P5, we've got Winter at 107 points, and then quite a drop from there. We have Mr. Lobby in P6 at 68, Purple in P7 at 62 points, Marino P8 54, Specs, who barely shows up, but when he does performs, P9 at 50 points, Demon P10 at 46, Crispy P11 at 37, Steezy 36 points for P12, GB at 7 points for P13. Quite a late entry for GB, and we haven't seen too much of them. But we do have quite a few fights that can be decided at our last race around there between the sprint race, fastest lap, pole position, and the actual race finish. And the ring, like Tony Cal said in chat, it scares him. It scares me.
Yeah,
that place is just going to be brutal,
especially at night.
In real life. Oh, especially at night. We're gonna see the lap times for sure come down at night, I think. Unfortunately, you have the temporary exposure increase in game that you can do, but it doesn't take into account like the day and night cycles. So you might bump it up, but then everything's gonna be bright as hell during the day. But I think you're likely to see the track times come down at that point, only because of how difficult it is to see.
So track times go up.
Yes, I'm sorry. Track
Speed go down.
People are slowing down.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see exactly what happens. I'm looking forward to it. So that'll be our feature race next weekend, and then of course, like you said, we have a bit of a break. Where next series we'll be changing up the format a little bit, where we'll be racing 2 different series out on the same days. So instead of alternating weekends like we did for this first series, we'll be running a GR86 series. So kind of similar to the MX5 series, but different cars. They drive similarly, but also a bit differently. I like it quite a bit. And along with that, we will be returning the manufacturer series. We're toying with the idea of including Group 4 in a couple of races as well, which will be exciting. Maybe some more sprint races possibly in the mix as well. And just some ways to keep the variety going and keep the drivers interested as well. So very much looking forward to that. I think all the racing is going to be it'll be great to see, and I think the format should hold for some entertaining races.
Yeah, I think so. It's exciting that we're going to be doing both races on the same day as well.
Yeah, that's going to be. I think that'd be nice. Thing.
Yeah, we're going to be starting with the 8-6 races and then moving on to the Group 3. And I think it's going to be nice for everyone involved. It's going to mean shorter seasons for us, but that also means that we don't have a 6-month stint where we're going every Sunday because it is a lot. It's a lot to commit to. We all have other lives and everything. But yeah, like Tony Cal, the different series being on the same day is going to be great. I think between it, giving our drivers more regular chances to drive different kinds of cars, I think it's going to be good. It's going to give us differing content on the same day as well. I think it's just going to be a positive overall, and I'm glad that we worked it out. There was a lot of back and forth about what we wanted to do starting next season, but I'm stoked for it. And if you and I get some racing in, even better.
Even better. For us, at least, not for the rest of them. Tony Cal, the organizer of this league, needs to send me my trophy. You can find it probably in your house, maybe.
Bro, I'll give you a trophy when you come up here. We got a few weeks,
but
kisses for the homies.
Kisses for the homies. So that'll be it for today. Thank you everyone for joining us, sending in new followers, all that fun stuff. You can catch our YouTube links in the description. Sometimes we do highlights, depending on the race, and of course the VOD for today's race as well. We've been talking so much about next season, but we will be finishing up next week, next Sunday, the 12th. 1 p.m. and Nürburgring. Looking forward to it. Thank you once again, everyone, for joining us. We will see you next time.
Cheers, everyone.